Hey everybody, this is Tim Charron, and welcome to my brand new podcast called The Charron Zone. Blah, 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 blah. Well, welcome to The Charron Zone. I am here with my friend Glenn Allen, and he is a coach and consultant. He helps online entrepreneurs with their business. And how are you doing tonight, Glenn?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Tim?
I am excellent. Thanks for being on. Now, I want you to elaborate so that you get the proper introduction. So elaborate on what you do and what you've been doing with your business.
Okay. So at the moment, I am a coach consultant helping people like yourself who want to take their expertise and put it in the form of an online course. And that can be kind of tricky. There's a lot of marketing that goes into it. And so I coach people on the creation, the sales, even just building the course with video. And I got into that through something actually similar to what you're doing. Years and years ago, I was a YouTuber who created a curriculum out of my private music lessons. So I was a songwriter and a music teacher who got tired of sitting in a small 8x10 room for 40 hours a week saying the exact same thing all the time. And I was overbooked and I couldn't make any more money because I was full time. Mm-hmm. So I thought, let's make courses. And that's how I got started with this back in, it was like 2008, 2009.
So what we're going to go over as well is we're going to go over some tips and tricks on how to look, sound, and feel better on video. And for this podcast in particular. So this is good for everybody. Anybody in business, anybody just on social media that wants to do, more video. And definitely great for musicians. You're a musician yourself, of course, like you said. So this is really good for everyone. And of course, the podcast is geared towards basically musicians that are entrepreneurs. So this is a really, really great fit. I'm super excited to have you on. And for everybody listening and watching out there, Glenn has been instrumental in helping me with my course that I just launched. And, he's been phenomenal at all the details that I literally would never have figured out. So thank you, Glenn, for helping me with the course. And I'm super proud of it, and I'm super excited about the course. So again, I couldn't have done it without you. So thank you.
It was my pleasure. I mean, it's a killer course, and it's one that I really, when I was a gigging musician in my New York City days, I wish I would have had. Oh,
yeah. Well, thank you. So let's go over those things, and these are, like I said, it's kind of like, I want to go over stuff that's kind of broad strokes for kind of everyone, keeping in mind, of course, that a lot of musicians, we're all basically entrepreneurs, in this day and age. So let's go over some tips and tricks for looking, sounding, and feeling better on video.
Well, let's start off with feeling better on camera, on video, because I think a lot of people, they don't even know where to start with video, or they have trouble getting over the hurdle of the psychology of it, the fear, the awkwardness. I hear that a lot. A lot of people are like, I know I need to make videos. You and your course talk about, I believe it's making videos of some of your live performances to help get better gigs, right?
Yep.
That is a crucial thing that some people just can't seem to get over because they think they're not what I call videogenic. And what they don't realize is it's not so much what you don't know about using gear or how you look or yourself. It's just some mindsets and some small tricks you can use. So, if you're looking at, say, putting out content, video content, but you're afraid to do that because you think you look stupid on camera every time, one thing to look at is, what's your framing look like? Like if you look, this is a really simple thing, but I see this all the time. If you look at, the screen I'm on and that Tim's on, we're both doing this really well. If you split this into thirds, so here's the top third of the screen, here's the middle third, and here's the bottom third. At the top of the middle third, where the middle third and the top third kind of meet, that's about where you want your eye line. And that helps you be in the right composition within your framing. And what that does for you is it stops you from looking either like, I can do this with my camera, like if you do something like this, and you're looking down at the camera, it's harsh angles, but also like look how like just I look menacing and maybe a little bit dominating.
Yep.
And conversely, you see people who they'll put like their phone or their camera below them, and then they'll go above the camera, and you're looking down at the camera.
I see that all the time.
Or sorry, other way around, and like you're looking up their nose.
Yeah, that's a bad look.
Yeah. Or they'll go down here. So like you'll have all this headspace. And what that does for you, psychologically, your audience, they don't really know, they can't put their finger on it, but something about it makes you less authoritative and credible. It's like you're small and you're diminished and you're unimportant. Then there's sort of the fear of, what if nobody's watching? What if my coworkers are watching? What if my friends or family see the videos I put out there? Mm-hmm. And some of that is just going to be, do you want to do this or not?
There you go.
Sometimes you just got to be like, you know what? Suck it up. If this is your dream, you sometimes just have to do what it takes.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means getting out of your comfort zone. And they're going to see it. That
is definitely a bigger subject, the subject of being judged. And I could go on for hours about being judged, and you're going to be judged. You're going to be judged no matter what. If you hide in the corner, people will judge you for hiding in the corner. If you do video and you put yourself out there, people are just really goofy on social media. And there'll be one person out of 20 that watch it that they're going to have something snarky or stupid to say. So that's the reality. But those are the hurdles that you need to you have to get past if it's something that you want to do. If it's a business, which music is my business, and it's hard to not take it personally, and I struggled with it, especially at the beginning, and now I've gotten to the point where I realize that if you have people saying negative things, it's almost, it kind of goes back to the whole idea of like, what is that quote? Bad press is still
press.
No such thing as bad press. You really have to build up your skin, thicken it up to expect people just saying stupid stuff.
Yeah, you put yourself out there and you're vulnerable. And the thing is, what I think has helped me, and I learned this from somebody else, I think it was like Ramit Sethi, a great infopreneur, is that, you're gonna get trolls.
Right.
And the thing is, they're not making anything. They're not doing anything.
Right.
So, they don't matter,
Mm-hmm.
And there's another quote that has something to do with, being in the arena. I can't think what it is, but like, you're in the arena, you're not a spectator. These are spectators, you're doing the thing. And so you kind of have to remember, like, who are they?
Right. Yeah. It's interesting because you can go, that's the other side of social media that, not to get into it too much, but like, you can go and see exactly who is trolling you. And 99% of the time you're going to go and it's a person who's not doing much, and it's a person who's not putting themselves out there. Very few and far between, in my experience, has anyone who's doing better in their career or in their life than me has ever had a negative thing to say about my music or what I'm putting out or my business. Because those are those people that are doing well. They're not going to sit there on social media and try to, put people down. So consider the source.
Yeah, consider the source. That's a great point.
Yeah.
I was the victim of some harassment on my second YouTube channel, The Glenn Allen Show, and it was from somebody I actually know. And I had to be very careful about how I handled it. I was very gracious about it. They were saying some things that were completely false. And there's even more to it that if I went and elaborated further, it would actually make that person just sound worse if I would have actually spoke my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose to just, you're not going to come out of that looking good. You're best off just being kind. And if it doesn't go away, do what I did. And you just have to talk to a lawyer. And if it gets to it, do a cease and desist. And that's basically the level I got. And I haven't heard anything since.
Yeah. And there are other things. Like, number one, in most cases, you're in control. It's either your channel, your social media channel. You can just delete it. I would say ignore most of it. I would take it a step further, and what I do is I use anything negative that somebody says. The first thing that I do, I've trained myself, is to use that for fuel and fire. And I use it specifically. I call it revenge success. I just did put out a podcast about this, and I get that like sick feeling when someone says something nasty, and it bothers me for a few minutes. I'm not going to lie and say that it doesn't bother me, but then I turn it around and I use it to get back to work and work that much harder, and that person will. I won't respond to them directly or indirectly, but I will let my career and my accomplishments down the road speak for themselves.
That's excellent. Yeah, you're just turning that energy around into something positive.
Absolutely. But every once in a while, I'll get back, because let me tell you a quick story. There's a guy, okay, who I posted I posted a video on my band page of me and my band playing for like thousands of people and doing a cover of Bruno Mars, Uptown Funk, right? So this guy goes on there and starts ripping me, like saying all this stuff about my hair and the way I move, and the fact that I'm not country because I'm doing a Bruno Mars song and all this stuff. So in this instance, I was like, oh man. So I said something back, and he kept going on it, right? So I was like, oh, I'm going to get this guy. So he had posted it. I think he had reposted it or something, and like tagged his friends that were real country. And they were all like, yeah, that guy's not real country. What is that? So this is so wonderful. This particular person, a few years before, he's a guitar player. He was like asking me if he could play with me. And like, hey man, I'd love to play any gigs with you, blah, 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 blah. So I went back into my social media account and I took screenshots of him begging me to back me up and play with me. And I posted them all over this thread, and I tagged his friends in them. It was amazing. It was amazing. So that was very validating and super fun. So there you go. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all right. That's a funny story.
Yeah.
So did that end it then?
Yeah. He I think he responded maybe like once on there, and then he was quiet. It was fantastic. But usually I'll just ignore people, and I'll use it to get back to work. So you're just people out there. Basically what Glenn is saying is just expect it. Like don't be surprised by it, because we all go through it. Every single person. I was watching a Graham Cochran video, and he was saying that he's a how would you describe Graham Cochran, right?
Actually, I'm not familiar with the name.
Okay, so he's a big on entrepreneur online. He does all these courses on how to do audio production and stuff. And now he does all of these videos on how to do like online courses. He's great. And he did a whole video on people hating on him. And he's like, I get all these thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. And he's like, I had a stretch where he wears V-necks. And he's like, all these people are like making fun of the way I dress. And I'm like, I'm just wearing a V-neck. Like, why are all these people like over and over making fun of the fact that he wears V-necks? And I can totally feel his pain because I wear V-necks every day of my life. So if anybody wants to make fun of my V-neck on this in the comments underneath it, whether it's the podcast or on
Get that engagement going.
YouTube, yeah, please feel free, because I could use the engagement. And that's the other thing, is that you should realize that when you do get the negative engagement, it's still engagement. So it helps with your SEO, and it helps you get your message out there even more, even though they're making fun of your V-neck.
That should be in one of my tips.
Yes.
Wear a V-neck, get more engagement.
Right. But just be aware that it's going to be people making fun of your V-neck, but they're helping your cause and your message and your business at the same time. So you should thank them.
That's right.
All right. So let's go on to the next tip that you have. So all of that goes back to framing your shot properly, right?
We went framing your shot, and then we went into what about, like, I'm afraid if people are going to watch it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm going to throw in a tip of my own, if it's cool.
Yeah.
The best thing to do if you're going to be doing videos, in my opinion, is to talk about stuff that you know, and stay away from subjects that you don't know anything about, because then you will stumble big time on those. So that makes everything much easier if you just kind of stay in your lane and talk about your whatever it is that your expertise is, or your business, or your own music, whatever it is. You talk about what you know, makes it a lot easier.
That is so true. And yet, when I was doing episodes of the Glenn Allen Show, back when it was called the Glenn and Aaron Show with my business partner, Aaron, we got into a bit where we would ramble, and we were trying to make it 10-minute YouTube videos. And so another thing that's helpful, I mean, yes, we knew the content. We were talking about personal development and motivation and success habits and things like that. That was what that channel was about. We had an outline, and
Yes.
that's one of the things that I really like to teach. If you're not sure what to say on camera, if you're afraid to be on camera because you're afraid you're going to ramble, or you just get nervous or whatever, having just kind of a 5-point outline is really helpful. Like, you start out with telling people what they're going to learn right off the top, introduce who you are, and then just get right into it. Maybe have 3 points, and then an outro of some kind of way. It's just sort of a stick and move beyond point thing. Yeah.
For everybody listening, I'm showing up my notes before, and I do this before every podcast and every show, is I write down some notes, talking points, so that if I do start rambling like I did, I can go back to that and get back on track. So there's a perfect example of Glenn's tip right there. So definitely having a loose outline. And we talked about this the other day, the difference between having an outline and an actual script. So if you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, so there's videos where you want to have a script. One of those might be, a sales video or something where you've got a lot more to cover and you've got very specific ways that you want to cover it. Or if you're teaching an online course, I script my online courses. And with that, you might use a tool like, there's this great tool I told you about, Parrot Teleprompter. Mm-hmm. It's just like this. It's like $100. It's just this plastic device. It fits over either your mobile phone or your DSLR, and the camera shoots through the glass. You stick another mobile phone with an app that has your script on it in the bottom of it, and it just reflects it up and at you. And so you're reading it, but you're reading it across what would be your lens. So you're looking into your lens and reading your script, and it doesn't look like you're reading at all, as long as your delivery is really good. And that's one type of video. But depending on what your video is going to be on, like I do a lot of live streaming, which has an element of sort of off the cuff live. I still will use an outline for that because I have a purpose for being on there, and I want to share something that's valuable to people. And so I'm not just gonna go on and ramble and be like, okay, guys, well, I'm gonna wait for a few more people to show up, and oh, hey, Becky, hey, bitch, how's it going? Like it's just
that's a great tip. If you're going to do live, then that's a great tip. Don't sit there and wait for people to get on and say, oh, we're just gonna wait for people to get on. Start speaking to the camera and saying something of value right away, so that people that are scrolling through don't, nobody wants to watch you. Just wait for people. Yeah.
With live streaming, and I have on my website a guide to live streaming that's very helpful in this respect. There's some tips about how you'd outline it that's included, but also there's the framing of how to treat it. Don't just treat it as it's live and it's done. It's live, but then you can repurpose it. People can watch the replay. You can promote it. You can pay to boost it on whichever social platform you're on. If it's valuable and it works well enough, you could put it on a YouTube channel. And so,
and you can save, which is what I do sometimes. I save to my camera roll on my phone the video, and then I'll put it up on my Instagram, the Instagram, what is that called? The TV? IGTV, or
and
sometimes
pick it up too.
Yep, you can put it on stories because it's in that format. Another real quick thing that I wanted to mention is a tip that I got from Michael Elsner is to, and people might not think of this, is to look at the camera. Whether it's your laptop or if it's your phone, make sure you're looking either at the camera or just below it.
Yeah, you want to create a personal connection. And there's even times when you're doing a video, you don't necessarily want to say, oh, hey, guys, because it's not a bunch of guys. It's not a bunch of people. It's not a big audience. You're connecting with one person with one screen. It's not like there's a bunch of people huddled around your screen, watching together necessarily.
That's true.
And so address one person and make that personal connection with them.
I love it. Excellent. All right.
How do we get on that topic?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
All right. So what else we got?
Let's see here. So we were just talking about scripting versus outlining.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look at this.
And definitely, I do the same thing. If I'm going to do a Facebook Live and I have specific points that I want to make sure that I hit, I do an outline, just take a few notes and have it right there. Sometimes I'll even, if I'm doing stuff from my laptop, I'll just tape my notes right to the top of the screen, so it's just like hanging there and I can't miss it. Yeah. It's the poor man's teleprompter.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, as long as you got it near your eye level.
Yep.
And the only other things, I go into lighting on there, which may not be relevant. It could be, but it's hard to explain that via audio or even just this way. It's something that you kind of have to see, like, what is the lighting setup?
Yeah, well, all I would say to that is that lighting is extremely important. I learned this years ago. I was back when I used to do some photos and did a lot of TV stuff and commercials and things like that. And one of the photographers just told me, especially natural light, like you can use natural light to your advantage. Natural light is always great, just being outdoors. Or if you're shooting something, say you're going to shoot a live, if you have a window that you can put your that you can face the window. If it has natural light coming through, that's the way to do it. You don't want to do it the opposite. You don't want to have the camera and the light source coming from behind you. So you want to have basically the light right in your face.
Yes. Yeah, if you shoot a video where the window's behind you, you're going to end up looking like a silhouette.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just I have this little ring light. I mean, it's probably $15, and little lights, little inexpensive lights can really make the biggest difference. I have that one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just go on Amazon, grab yourself like 1 or 2 inexpensive lights. Those ring lights, the ones that are a little bit bigger, those things are really really handy too. I have like what do they call them? Boxes. What is it?
Soft boxes.
Yeah, soft boxes here. And these things are really great. But yeah, man. I mean, I think that the lighting it can be very important. So if people just get like something simple, I mean, they even have little ring lights that you can get for your phone.
Yeah.
And just put that. Actually,
that's actually what this one is, but I can use it on my laptop.
Check this out. I use this all the time. So this is the greatest thing I've bought in a long time. So if anybody's listening, right? This I got, it's a little mini tripod for my phone, right? And I got it for like $14. And when I got my phone stolen, this got stolen too. So I had to go buy another one. And it's like $14, and it folds up like this, like so. And if you're listening, go to YouTube or something and watch it, because it's really cool. And it actually has a remote that you can trigger your phone from. It has a telescope that you can, do selfies and stuff. So this is what I do my little selfie videos on, my live videos and everything. And the little remote, I don't really use the remote that much, but if you want to use the remote, you can. And it comes out. And the cool thing is, I don't use it much because I'm usually doing my my lives. I usually do them outside, like when I'm walking to the beach or walking to the gym or something like that. But this has a little light on it too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, if I can get it to work. Oh, maybe the batteries. Oh, yeah, I have to charge it. But this just shows you that I don't use it because it's, oh, there it goes. So it's got a little light. So boom, you can just
That's awesome.
Go like that. So there you go. We make a good team, Glenn. We've got all sorts
I should rock my laptop downstairs. I can show you all my fun toys in the video studio. Take a little laptop walking tour.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, let's do it.
All right, let's do this. So what you can do is you can edit out me walking downstairs, and I'll start from there.
I don't edit.
Oh, that's right. Well, never mind that.
What's that?
Here we go. I forgot about that part. All right, let's make sure let's hope my internet connection doesn't die while we do this.
All right. Well, this is fun. See, this is the magic of video. And for everybody listening to the podcast, this is a very dramatic scene where Glenn is doing a walk down into the basement, and it looks kind of like the Blair Witch Project. So it's very exciting. So when he starts screaming, don't be worried. He's just excited to show everybody his video lighting setup.
So it's funny because I have the ugliest, messiest basement. It's a video studio, and it's a let me turn some lights on in here, and it's a music studio. But I have to amble around, drumsticks, random cables and gear and stuff like that. So I'll kind of give you the lay of the land.
So this is really great. So everybody listening, definitely check out the video on my YouTube page. I'll be posting the video on my social media and stuff, because Glenn is literally giving us a behind the scenes look at his studio where he does his YouTube show.
Yeah, so I've got like back here's my messy music editing station where I have my 8-channel mixer, and then like, you know, the iMac and all my mics and crap like that. I have occasionally I'll do like voiceover things, so I have my audio booth thing here.
Oh, nice.
But you can see this is just like a really atrocious basement. But over here, I've got various backdrops. So I recently did a Facebook ad video, and I needed a nice backdrop. And so all I've got here, let's see how well I can show this. This is just like, I don't know, maybe 8 foot wide, really inexpensive stand.
Is that paper?
It's not quite paper. It's kind of like a vinyl, but really thinner than that. It's between paper and vinyl. I don't know what this material is, but it looks realistic on film, and it's put in front of my regular video studio, which this is pretty cool. If you watch any of my Glenn and Ellen episodes or the Glenn and Aaron show, this is corrugated plastic. Really inexpensive stuff you can get at like at like a Home Depot or something like that, some kind of builder store. And then these really cheap 1x4s that stapled onto the 1x4s, and my 1x4s are just nailed up to the basement rafters. Let's see if I can show that.
Wow!
And I just did that all the way across, and I spray painted the black so they don't show up on camera. Now what's cool about this is, you know, some of you musicians might have these lights. I'll show one. You can get yourself one of these guys, and it's just a stage light. And I just shine it. I don't even shine it at the wall. What I found was on camera, if you shine it at the wall, it creates a big, bright white light, and then color on the outside, really washed weird. But if you point it instead, I have it pointed, let's see if I can show this. I have this ugly carpet. At the floor, near the bottom of the wall, it actually creates a perfect warm glow. And it's weird because the camera sees it that way, but in real life it looks really stupid. So, it's just strange how that works out.
So can you clarify, because I'm learning here, the light is shooting upwards towards the wall, or it's shooting down at the floor?
It's shooting down at the bottom of the wall. So like almost straight at the bottom where the floor meets the wall.
Okay.
And that created the best color all around me the most consistently, which is weird because when you see it with your own eyes in person, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't look like that. But on camera, it shows up differently. Can
you show that to me one more time?
Yeah.
I just want to see the direction that it is, because I'm going to use it for my...
So let's get these suckers on. Yeah. Okay. So you see how this is kind of blue? You can see that I've just shined it at the bottom.
Oh, great.
Now, oddly enough, we thought when we were designing this, if we shot it up at the wall, that would be the best look. But on camera, you see it doesn't turn out. You got these weird, bright centers.
Yes.
And so the color idea we were going for just didn't fit. And we chose this cool blue because it was part of our branding colors. And so I built that whole thing. This goes, I don't know, about 6 feet this way and about, 20 feet that way. I did it for $90.
Wow.
What's interesting about that is this kit right here, this backdrop and this stand on Amazon is like $90.
Oh, wow.
So you could make a simple in-home, recording space, or like not recording space, like if you're a musician who wants to do some demos of your songs, set up a nice space like this using some very basic materials, set up some lights. And people ask me all the time, what studio are you making your episodes in? And I'm like, that's my basement.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched your show, and it looks incredibly professional. I mean, it does look like you're in a really nice studio. And, I just to go over my setup, I just have a stage banner that I use for the stage, and I just set that up, and then I have my 2 box lights, and that's it. Can you show us kind of a shot? Is it possible to put your computer where you would put your camera, so we kind of see like how the shot is looking when you're shooting?
Yeah, so I'll turn it around so you can see even what I'm looking at.
Oh,
So
wow.
these are my two soft boxes. There's my
Okay.
ring light. You see there's
So
a
I
mirror.
have those two soft boxes, but I don't have the ring light.
Ah, that was a great ad because it just kind of it was a better fill-in light because the camera needed to be here, but I still needed a light here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm using, you can see there's a DSLR camera inside of there.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll put my phone in there for other types of videos, so that has both mounts in there.
Yep.
Then over my left shoulder, you can see I've got a mirror that I'll sometimes check, okay, how do I look? How am I standing? It's a quick check when I don't have my monitor to actually to look at myself. So it's a poor man's monitor. I do have monitors, but sometimes I just don't feel like setting everything up.
Yeah. That's genius. Having the mirror there, it's like, that's so smart. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah. So let's see if I can get this. I wouldn't normally have, so I'm on my laptop right now, so you normally wouldn't quite see this. You would see like, this is about the framing, only I'd have to move it like this. And one thing that I do is, so I've got markers for different types of videos. If I'm doing an interview style 2-chair show, I have places where those should go and the camera goes way back there. If I'm doing a Facebook Live or a Facebook ad,
Mm-hmm.
then the camera is set specifically here, and I actually have slippers that I stand on top of, so I know the exact position I need to stand to get the framing right. So I'm standing on my slippers right now. That's where I'd be. And then I have a music stand where I place my laptop, and I connect that to my camera, and my camera, what my camera is seeing, I can see here, and I can spot check really quickly.
Okay.
And so, and also this gives me a place to have my notes and things like that. So, new use for a music stand.
Yeah. Yeah. Multifunctional.
Yeah. Oh, and also it holds my Zoom recorder. I don't always trust. Well, my camera has pretty awful audio, and I've tried different shotgun mics from my camera. But what I've found is, if you want the greatest audio, if you're really going to get into video, get a $20 lapel mic,
Mm-hmm.
and then just feed the audio into something like this and sync it up later.
Mm-hmm.
Or some devices will actually go, from your lapel mic into this handheld recorder and align out into your camera. Now, if you're a mobile phone person, that's overkill, right? You're like, I don't want to buy all this tech. There are really cheap but very good sounding lapel mics that go straight into your mobile phone.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, this is fantastic. So, like, if you really want to go deep, this is all the stuff that Glenn's using. And if you want to just keep it simple and use your phone, then, you can just get a simple mic. And, depends. I mean, I don't use anything for my live stuff. I just use either natural light, but if I'm inside, all of my lives, I'll throw on my lights, because why have bad lighting when you have lights? So yeah. I would suggest if you're going to do I mean, you tell me, you're the expert, but if you're going to do a lot of video stuff and you just want to keep it really simple and use your phone, what would you suggest people get or don't get?
That depends on what you're trying to do. Like, let's say you just want to shoot, like you've got this new song you just did and you want to put it out there to the world. If you just want to do like a live, just use, like, I'm a big iPhone fan, just use your iPhone.
Yeah.
And the new iPhone 11s even have these really cool new cameras where you can do picture in picture and use both cameras at the same time. They had musicians in mind for that. They can even use the front and back cameras, and you can get musicians that are with you or to the side of you if you have on either side of this camera.
Okay, welcome back to the Charron Zone. I had a technical problem with my internet, so we're back with Glenn, and we were talking about doing simple video with your phone.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've really gotten into as a mobile filmmaker, and you can do this even if you're not, there's this company called Moment, and they make these Android and iPhone cases that basically turn your phone into an adapter for a really cool lens. So these lenses are, I mean, A DSLR lens is gonna, for a good one, it's gonna cost you over 1,000. For that quality of lens on your mobile phone, you're looking at around 100, 150, some less. They always have sales. And so I have quite a few of these lenses. They just pop right into the camera. And what's great is there's a wide one, and I like that one. There's also one called anamorphic, and it gives you that cool cinematic look. And you can set that on a tripod, step back with, if you want to do like a video or something like that, step back with your instrument, and it just captures this wide space if you got more than just yourself to show, or if you got to do a full band video or something like that. So Moment is an amazing quality for very, very, very low cost.
Very cool. And I would like to add to that, again, this little tripod thing that I have, it was like literally $14 on Amazon. I'm not really sure what it's called, but just look for a selfie tripod, and you just pop this thing on a table or something, and you have a simple tripod. So you don't have to, go out and spend $100 on a tripod. This one's totally mobile and it's super useful. And actually, I use this all day. I use this when I'm going to make phone calls. I just put it on the tripod like this, right? Then when I'm cooking and stuff, I'll throw on YouTube videos. I'll watch the Glenn Allen show on YouTube, and I will just put the tripod on the kitchen counter, and I'll be listening to my podcasts or watching whatever I am on watching on YouTube, and that's how I watch it, so that I don't have to try to prop up my phone. I mean, it's $14. Can't go wrong.
Nice. That trumps my fancy gizmo. I do the same thing with my gimbal, which it's like this weighted thing that holds your phone level as you move.
Yeah.
But if you put it down without a tripod, it spins really fast and falls over. So you have to watch.
All right. So, Glenn, number one, I'd like to ask you where people can get more information about tips and tricks on how to look, sound, and feel better on video.
So the first place you can go is straight to my website, theglenallenshow.com. That's Glenn with two N's, Allen. And right on the front page, if you scroll to about the middle, I've got two guides. One is specifically for how to look and sound better. It's got some of these tips we talked about today and some extra ones that we didn't cover that go more in depth about just how to use your camera, how to make the coloring right, better sound, better lighting. And there's another one called, I think it's like live streaming success tips, and that's going to have my outline that I use as both the sort of starting point outline for all of my Facebook Lives, some of my ads, and all of my YouTube videos. And that brings me to the second place you can find me is you can learn about success habits, mindset, and things like that from episodes of The Glenn Allen Show on YouTube. And I'll also be posting more and more content about how to create better video and more digital marketing related things like that.
Perfect. Excellent. I cannot stress how important live video is to your businesses. Anybody listening, everybody listening, watching, doing live video is so incredibly powerful. So jump on that bandwagon now while it's still extremely powerful, because, God only knows what's going to happen in a year or 2 years with algorithms and all that fun stuff. But right now it's still extremely powerful. So use it for all it's worth. It's helped me a ton with my social media and my music business. So what I'd like to do now, we're editing on the fly again. I'd like you to, if you don't mind, just give us a quick recap of your tips and tricks on how to look, sound, and feel good on camera, on video.
Sounds good. So first of all, looking at the psychology of, you're worried to go on camera, you're afraid you're going to look awkward. One of the first things is get your framing right. That'll help you have the right composition to look authoritative and not look stupid or diminutive on camera. Second thing is, if you're worried about what people will say, You're worried about, no, sorry, what people say about you or who's going to see it, like maybe your coworkers or friends and family, and you're just not ready for that. Some of that is, you are opening yourself up to being vulnerable, and you're just going to have to get a thicker skin about this and just get outside your comfort zone. If this is important enough to you to do and your dream really matters, then you got to do what it takes. And it's going to get easier with practice. We didn't talk about this earlier,
Yeah.
but we really should. When I first started my original YouTube videos, I was able to do retake after retake after retake because it was just me. I was just teaching music theory and songwriting, and if I said something stupid, I'd stop the camera and do it over. But then when I started the Glenn and Aaron show, which later became the Glenn Allen show, two people riffing off each other caused us to need to be a little bit more scripted. But before we got into scripting, we would just improvise, and it was boring as hell. So our first few videos, I think our first 8 of them, it was lackluster. It's like, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Glenn. Yeah, thanks, Aaron. We didn't have the energy, and you have to have, the camera sucks out like 10% or more of your energy, and so you got to amp it up.
Yeah.
And so we would practice and do a bunch of videos, none of which will ever see the light of day because they suck. And then once we just practice and watch them, we go, okay, let's fix this. And each week we just kind of rewatch and say, let's not do that, let's do this. And you get better. Quick tip, if you want to do this with your Facebook Lives, you can set your audience to only me. And you can go live and no one will see it except for you. And it will post to your wall. Only you can view it. You can rewatch it. You can delete it when you're done. And you can do as many of those as you want to do. It's a great way to get comfortable and kind of work out the jitters.
That's a phenomenal tip. I never would have thought of that. That's a great tip because, like everything, doing these things, it just takes practice. Whatever you're good at now, it took practice. If you're a musician, it took a lot of practice for you to become a good musician. So it's the same exact thing with just doing videos. So yeah, just jump on live, have just the audience set to yourself, and then you can do it and then watch it back and tweak it as you go, and then you'll know what you need to improve and what you need to maybe cut out and stuff. So that's a great tip.
And if you've got a business, if you set your fan page up as a business page, you can't do that. And so again, the workaround is go into your personal page and practice there, and then when you're ready, go back onto your page. So it's just a technical thing.
I have another quick tip that I just want to throw in there. When I first started doing Facebook Lives, I was kind of bummed out because when I would do them from my band page, there would only be a few people on there. And I was like, oh, nobody's watching. But don't do the Facebook Lives or the lives for the people that are watching. Do it for the playback because that's where you're going to get most of your views. So don't worry that there's only 1 or 2 people on there at a time. You're going to get just keep doing it, number one, and keep getting better at it. And keep in mind that you're going to get more and more views the more you do it and through the playback.
There's also a lag, You go live and then the notification hits people, and people are going to be jumping on at different places. So I've heard that it takes up to 20 minutes to get to the pinnacle of the most viewership in a live. So yeah, exactly. Do not do it just for the people doing it in real time.
Yep.
Do it for replay. You can repurpose that video in so many ways.
Awesome. Okay, what was the next tip?
The next thing we talked about was we talked about framing. You want to make sure your eye level is in the top third of your video. We talked about that. We talked about some mindset things, practicing, and I showed you a little bit of what I use for some of my backdrops and how you can do that affordably. And I know I'm missing something.
And lighting, just
lighting.
Using a window and facing that window. That's probably the simplest and best way to go about using natural light.
Watch out for overhead light that's really harsh because it'll give you raccoon eyes. It'll create the shadow. I've got that in my guide if you download that. And that's why, if you're wondering what the heck this is, I've got an umbrella soft light. And if I pull this off, I can't quite get to it. But really, here we go. This is just a really cheap clip-on utility light. It's one of those ones you'd see at at a home builder store where you just clamp it onto a piece of wood. It was like an $8 light, and it causes a nice overhead light without the raccoon eye thing going on.
Awesome. Perfect. Man, this has been great. This has been like a total deep dive, really behind the scenes with Glenn Allen, with his, with everything that you're doing for your show. And everybody should definitely check out the show on YouTube, The Glenn Allen Show, because you'll be able to see how amazing that studio looks. It looks incredible on your show. All right, so before we go, we'll just leave everyone with the place to go and get even more info on how to look, sound, and feel better on video.
Yeah, just go to theglennallenshow.com. I've got 2 different things you can download right there that will help you with getting started in either pre-recorded or live video.
Awesome, and they're totally free.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Glenn, thank you very much. Thank you for all of your hard work and help with my course. Literally, I can't thank you enough because I wouldn't have been able to launch it without all of your expertise. And thank you for being on the Charron Zone and helping everybody out there with their videos.
My pleasure. It's been an honor to serve you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Take care. Hey, everybody. This is Tim Charron, and welcome to my brand new podcast called The Charron Zone. Blah, 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 blah.